UT Martin head coach Jason Simpson, Skyhawks beat their second ever FBS opponent, knocking out Kennesaw State this past weekend. They're going to be home. They're going to host Gardner Webb, who shared the Big South OVC championship with last year. So, Coach, just some thoughts first on that win this past weekend. We'll go to some questions.
Sure. Okay, great. Yeah, certainly proud of the players and the staff. It was a little bit muddy and soggy, rainy second half. So, we challenged the players to play physical, mistake-free football. I thought we showed, a lot of grit, a lot of toughness. Thought we played with a lot of confidence on defense. Of course, when you score on defense, right, O'Shea made a really good play. Chris Hunter had a nice pick to seal the game. A lot of Tevin Ship had 12 tackles, Smiley at the nose tackle. So I thought we played really confident, and it was a couple plays we didn't tackle real well. Okay, but real proud of the defense and the staff. Offensively, did what we needed to do. To had the pick six that was unfortunate. Besides that, though, thought Cheeks, had the big run on the power that came out, and the offensive line collected some things. So good, good team win, good team special teams win as well, and proud of the kids.
It's they're a new FBS team, but it's an FBS win. We talked about this. Like, that's only the second one you all have ever had. You beat Memphis back, a decade ago or so. Just, talking about beating a team that's got more resources than you and going and beating them on their home field, what that means for a program.
Yeah, I'm proud of that for our program. I mean, not to kick them when they're down or anything. Okay, that they'll get that thing turned around. They're in a great location, and I thought it was pretty good, atmosphere and facilities and stuff. But, yeah, you're right. At the end of the day, there's 85 scholarships compared to 63. So, you're already down from that. And then, should be more resources and that as they're in Conference USA. So, yeah, it's a good thing for our program. It's a good thing for the conference. I think there's been 6 FCS teams that beat FBS teams. And so we were one of them. Finally got 2, in my tenure here. So, it's not easy to do. So proud of the players, proud of the program. Is something, these seniors have got 3 conference championship rings, and part of beating an FBS team. So a lot of positive things coming off last week.
We were joking before we started recording in the locker room. You always, when you have a big win, it's always a lot of fun. Just talk about how the team, that reaction, and just it seems like they're all having fun and getting along. Obviously, you've won, but just that sort of that makeup at the locker room and some of those post game celebrations.
No, you're right. I mean, it's to me, it's indescribable. It's exciting. It's a lot of work that goes into those 30 seconds. At the end of the game when we celebrate together. I think when I ever get to the point to where it doesn't excite me, and then maybe it's time to do something else. But it does. I know how much these coaches and these players put into it on a yearly basis, on a weekly basis. So yeah, it's enjoyable. Sometimes maybe some of that stuff shouldn't get out, because it's certainly not staged. But I'm excited about it. I'm proud to be a part of it. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and the bus ride back's one of the few times it's fun, when you win, because those trips can be long and getting in late.
You mentioned a lot of names. We could talk about all of them, but O'Shea, that's his 7th career interception with you, I think. So he just makes big plays, which is what an All-American player does, right?
Yeah, very proud for O'Shea. I think he really kind of took it upon himself. He expected more out of himself. Our team needed more out of him. We need him to play on a high level, and thought he played very confident. I thought he made some very sure tackles. What a great break on that ball, that he picked. And we need him to play at a high level. Him, Ship, Sharp, Hunter, like I said, Smiley, Hastings, those guys need to show up on that stat sheet and play at a high level.
Well, let's turn our attention to your opponent. Obviously, you had a game with them last year that came down to the end. It didn't go your way, but you shared the co-championship. Just so thoughts on Gardner Webb.
Yeah, we started the week off by saying, okay, you're back in conference play, so that should be enough to said. It's homecoming for us, which I think is a great week at UT Martin, and And our job is to play as well and give our fans something to be excited about at the end of the week of different celebrations and activities that we have on campus. You know, it was a tough trip over there and tough loss last year at the end of the game. So, you know, I don't know what else I need to say to our guys, but get yourself ready to play and let's have a great week of practice.
And obviously they're a totally different team than last year. New coach, like I think they had just a handful of players back. They had a tough game with Tennessee State, having no power on their campus this past weekend. But what have you seen so far? They played two FBS opponents to the wire this year already.
No, that's very concerning. You're right. You know, a 1 point loss to Wofford, you know, 13-6 games against James Madison. And obviously the math, you know, the past weeks tells you James Madison, you know, scored 70 points against North Carolina. So, and then a 1 point loss, a late loss to another FBS opponent in Charlotte. So that's very impressive. I'm very impressed with their defenses. That's the unit I've been studying all week. And they're physical, and the backers get downhill, make a lot of tackles. The safeties are standing right there. The corners are good, you know, as they covered, and they bring their zone pressures and do a great job with that. They got 15 sacks and, you know, in 5 games. So, you know, we've got a great challenge ahead of us.
Well, let's talk about Patrick Smith again. I know I asked about him a couple weeks ago, but it just consistently has done what you've asked of him this year. And when he's running well, obviously it takes the pressure off other parts of your offense.
No doubt, Patrick's done a great job. Cheeks, as we call him. You know, he's been very consistent for us, and great team, fit in very nicely from the first day he got here. You know, just very pleased with him. He's just very consistent, you know, doesn't miss a whole lot of runs and been stepping out of tackles and breaking some tackles. So, you know, we're very proud of him and appreciate what he's brought, you know, to our offense.
Is he a different type of back than like what you've had a couple really good ones the last couple years? How's he compared to some of those ones you've had last 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, you know what? He's probably more like, you know, Peyton Logan probably was a little shiftier, more of an outside runner. Of course, you had Sam Franklin with the speed last year, but he's probably more like a Zach Wallace, who was a 1,000-yard rusher for us, from the standpoint of, you know, kind of in between the tackles. You know, good vision. You know, he's not as big as Zach was, but you know, he's got the same, you know, center of gravity and breaking tackles type, but you know, with really good vision. And yeah, I can see why you would ask that question, but you know, and we got to get some other guys involved. I thought Glover Cook had a couple good runs. Narkel's still been nursing an ankle injury. You know, we'll see where he is, but yeah, certainly, you know, right now the run game goes through Cheeks.
Coach, that's all we got for you this morning. Thanks a lot. Appreciate your time. Best of luck for your homecoming game, and we'll talk to you next week.
Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate you.